Hey guys, and welcome back to Regrexit. Brexit England, Northern Ireland, and Eastern Europe. You know, Brexit England are a bunch of crackheads, right? Understand where we are in this country, right? We have sold off the jewellery. We've sold off the electrical goods. We've sold off all the white goods. We've sold off the fancy dining room table and chairs. We've sold a settee along with that. We're now down to the carpets and the cutlery, the pots, the pans, the knives, the forks, the plates, the bowls, and the blenders. And because we're just about to sell off all that stuff, right? This country, right? Well, the government is just about to sell off Channel 4. And also, welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages you sent me, and a special thanks to everybody who signed up my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up, so thank you so much for that. Go through all your messages. I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all the messages for definite. Nadine Dorries, right? Britain's answer, in fact, a pound shop version of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Nadine Dorries. Do you know how crap of a politician you have to be a pound shop version of Marjorie Taylor Greene, the woman who brought us the Gazpacho police, that Marjorie Taylor Greene, the woman who told us about Jewish space lasers in the sky, that Marjorie Taylor Greene. By the way, I wanted her to brand like the black community with the ones with the space lasers in the sky, because then I could have thought of a few people that I would have zapped, starting with Nigel Farage. But Nadine Dorries, made a complete arse of herself, a few weeks ago. Well, I can't remember how long ago it was now, right? But when she was speaking about Channel 4, right? Because Nadine Dorries, right? Nadine Dorries had a very good start in the world of politics, right? When she called George Osborne and David Cameron, she said there was a pair of posh boys or something, and she's basically dissed them in Parliament. And everyone thought, oh, wow. And then the truth is, everything's gone downhill from there. And then, so now, Nadine Dorries, right, is in one of these select committees, and she said, and they've asked her, and they're explaining to her, and they said to her, well, what about the Channel 4? Because obviously she's telling them that she wants to privatise it, because look how well privatisation have done for this country, right? But as I said, we're down to we are the crackhead now. We're like Pookie, and if you know who that is, then you're a real film buff, right? But we're down to the last of it. We're just on the pipe, right? Because we haven't got nothing else to sell. We're scraping around now, scraping around the country, because we've sold the gas, the electric, the water, the CO2, right? Right? The Dartford crossing, and trains and so much other stuff. So we are down to, we're scraping around now. And you know what? They've seen Channel 4. The way how Channel 4 is actually financed, it's government owned, right? But it's not government financed, right? So you have to get that. Yeah, it works very strange, because yes, it is government owned, but it's not financed by the license fee, because a lot of people will say to you, oh no, it's financed like 11% by the license fee, but they've read, what they've read is they've read the transcripts about Channel 4, right? And that is actually a 11% of the audienceship, what they've got, not 11% funded by the government. There's there, right? And Channel 4 is actually running in a profit. So it's in a profit, it's government owned, it's in profit, right? And it's like, oh, we can sell that. right? So now they're going to go and sell it, probably maybe to a Russian or someone Chinese. And that's probably a fact. That's probably what's going to happen with it, because you think, well, why would you even But then again, look, they've sold off everything else. I mean, it's just this is a pointless. This is really a pointless discussion, because we know what these people are about, right? So they think to themselves, well, they must have scraped around to look and say, well, what else can we do, right? What else can we sell before the British public tell us to get the fuck out and don't ever want to see us again? So they're going to sell Channel 4. Right? And I have to say, R.I.P. right, to my on-screen white mother, June Brown, aka Dot Cotton. Really sad that Dot Cotton passed away, do you know what I mean? And Dot Cotton was like, she's 95 years old, right? And I'm quite sure she probably had a fag in her hand when she do you know what I mean, just before she passed away. Right, because she always had a fag on the go, and I believe wherever she went, right, she smoked wherever she wanted to, and that's how she'll always be known. I think in those type of circles. But I think we've all been brought up. Obviously, we've all been brought up with June Brown as Dot Cotton, because she's been doing it for 35 years. I don't really know what she's done before that, but I do know, because I've just seen a clip on it on the TV, that she did first actually start in another soap opera. And no, it's not Hollyoaks. It's so silly. Or Neighbours. Now you're being silly. But she actually started in Coronation Street, right? Back in, I don't know, but I know it was black and white, what I saw. Right? So we've all been, as I said, we've all been brought up with her, especially people especially people of my age, who would have seen her in EastEnders, for the last 35 years, where she played Dot Cotton, right? And her son, Nasty Nick. He was a brilliant actor as well, John Altman, absolutely fantastic actor as well. But so it's very, very sad news with June Brown passing away like that, at 95 years old, right? And Steve Coogan, actually, let me first of all, right, the war crimes, right, that obviously we've seen playing out in the Ukraine, and we've seen what the Russians have actually, what they're leaving behind, right? And it's horrific, right? But what gets me, right, is the Russians are just like, not us. We didn't do. I'm not doing no funny voices for the Russians, because they don't really deserve that shit, right? So they're just like, nothing to do with us. We didn't kill all those people with their hands tied behind their back and all those women and children. We didn't do that. It's reminiscent, yeah, of you coming home and you live in a flat and you have a dog, and just you and the dog live in the flat. And you come at home from work and the dog's in one corner and there's a big pile of shit in the other corner. And you look at the dog and the dog's just like, well, why are you looking at me? I haven't done that. And he says to the dog, well, look, only me and you live here. I did not shit in the corner. That's how the Russians are just dealing with it, not us. They're basically saying, they've gone into, right, hostile districts, right, where the people have confronted them. Right, because we know that we've seen all the videos of people confronting the soldiers unarmed, but obviously we don't know if these people was throwing Molotov cocktails at them, because we did know that a lot of the Ukrainians they were storing Molotov cocktails and all that, right? So we don't know the actual situation, how these people have all ended up dead, but we do know that the Russians are saying, well, nothing to do with us. We went in there and we fed and watered them, and then when we left, they was all alive, and then the Ukrainians have come in and then killed them all. So really, is that what that's the defence, right? And then, remember, right, from when they first started bombing, the first thing I said, well, this is war crimes. This is horrific. It's war crimes, what we're seeing, right? And it took, and middle of last week, yeah, Biden come out and said, Putin he's a war criminal, these are war crimes, and he needs to go. I remember the White House rolled back, and then the next day they said, "Oh, Biden's going to come out and he's going to roll back." That's what it was in the press. And Biden come out and he doubled down and said, "No, the man's a war criminal. He needs to go." Right? That's what Biden said. And now, just this week now, right, it seems the rest of the world have actually caught up and saying, "Well, this is a war crime. It's genocide. It's actually genocide. It's not war crimes. We've gone past that stage now of war crimes. This is genocide. What's going on?" Right. So now the world is at that point now where they're saying, well, this is, and they should really, all of this, I mean, obviously a lot of it's going to be, a lot of it is documented, but most, every part of this should be documented because, all of these Russian troops, right, they all need to be held accountable at The Hague for what they for this. All of them need to be held accountable at The Hague, right? But I get really annoyed, right, about this because the way how we are looking at the Russians, right, for doing what they're doing, right, is exactly the same way, yeah, how the people of Yemen, right, or Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, Iraq, right, how they're all looking at us, Palestine, all looking at us in the same way that we, are looking at Russia and saying those Russians, they're war criminals. Look what they're doing, right? We are standing by, right, and watching our government give weapons, right, to Saudi Arabia to do this very same thing, right, in Yemen right now. Right, so how can we, right, and when I say we, I mean you, right, look over, because I don't support any of this. I don't support Ukraine. I don't support what's going on in Palestine. I don't support what's going on in Yemen. Right, I certainly did not support the war in Iraq or Afghanistan. Right, so I've been there all the time. Where I am now, I've been here from day one. Right, because war is, I care about civilians. I don't care about soldiers, right? You signed up for that, right? So I don't really care. Your life, right? One soldier's life, right? You'd have to say, well, 10, for every 10 civilians, right? Soldiers and civilians, right? If you kill 10 soldiers, right, and one civilian, those ratios. Right, but I'd prefer it to be 10 soldiers and no civilians, because they signed up for that shit and they all know exactly what they're signing up for, right? So whether they're UK soldiers, right, or they're Russian soldiers, right, they're all basically the same, okay? Right, don't get it twisted, right? Because when our soldiers are sent to do these things, right, they act the same as the Russian soldiers. Okay, they murder, they rape, right? They do exactly the same thing. They're not ethical. There's no such thing as an ethical soldier. Okay, there's no such thing, right? They go and they do horrific things. In the same way you see this playing out in the Ukraine, these things are playing out in Palestine, in the Yemen, right now. They're playing out in these places. Okay, so we have to take a stance on all of this, right? And we can't be hypocrites, right? We can't be hypocrites and and just say, well, okay, it's okay for those people, because I often, when people speak to me about Palestine and Israel, I say, well, okay, just tell me this, right? If you had no choice and you had to come back as either Palestinian or Israeli, what would you choose? And I just jump straight in and say to them, I'll tell you what I'll choose. Because my black ass would come back speaking Hebrew. And I'll just say, sign me up for one of them skull caps and get my black ass down to the local synagogue. That's where I'd be. Okay, so Steve Coogan, right, has doubled down on Will Smith, and he's not held back. And it's true, because just like for me, obviously, Chris Rock should take advice from Jim Carrey, and he should be suing Will Smith. right? Because Chris Rock is always now going to be the person who got slapped on the telly. That's who he is for the rest of his life, right? It doesn't matter how long this goes, right? And soon, Chris Rock is going to turn into the butt of the joke. It's going to take a bit of time because at the moment, a bit too soon to start, you know. But it's going to take time, and obviously he probably be able to handle it, to be honest, because you know everyone looks and we all know what happens. You know what I mean? What we all know that Will is just a big pussy for doing what he done. Right, but you see, you know, I was thinking, you see, all married men, yeah, and men who are in a long-term relationship with like a really decent woman, right? Your wife or your serious girlfriend, yeah, your serious partner, right, will have like she's got 4 words, right, that stop you anytime. Just from going over the top, right, and making her look stupid. Every single time, right? You could be at a funeral, you could be at a wedding, right? You could be at a local restaurant, you could be in the local park, right? You can be, you know, at church, right? You could be anywhere, and you're out with your wife, right? You could be driving your car, you're out with your wife, right? And all of a sudden, you're just about to start kicking off with somebody else, right? And you are just about to make a complete arsehole of yourself, because you know how blokes are, make a complete arsehole of yourself. You're just about to do that, right? And your wife will just like step in front of you. Why have you been an idiot? That's it. Enough to stop any man. Every single husband or long-term boyfriend or partner, that's enough to stop anyone. Obviously, unless your wife is a narcissist and she uses those words on you all the time. Every day she uses those words. You're an idiot. We've been an idiot for. Because your wife, she keeps that in her back pocket. Because those words, she knows, right, will just shut you off, right? You're just about to make a complete fool of yourself in front of her parents, right? And she knows, she can even give you the look. By this stage, you know, with her parents, she can give you the look to say, and that look is just, why are you being an idiot? It's my parents, right? Just a look. But while you're out, when you're in the pub, and you're just about to tear some fool's head off, because you know what? He bumped into you and a little bit of beer spilt on your shoes. And you're just about to smack the taste out of his mouth. Right? And your wife just, I've been an idiot. And next thing you know, you're back to being a 16-year-old boy. Right? And obviously that's what Will Smith didn't have. Right? Because those are the words that Jada could have used. Why have you been an idiot? Done. Would have shut Will Smith down, right? But fellas, those are not words that you can use on your missus. Don't ever, in any circumstance, say to your missus, "Why have you been an idiot?" Because you're just about to get a good clap upside your head, right? If you're trying to, you know, your missus is just about to make a fool out of the two of you. She's out and she's about to make a fool out of the two of you. Right, you just go, babe, come on, man. She's an idiot. Babe, come on, man. You're 10 of her. She's jealous of you, right? That'll calm your missus down. You don't go to your missus and say, "Why have you been an idiot?" Because that's just stupid. But that's what Will Smith is missing. He's missing a Wally alarm that his wife has for him. But because Jada's a narcissist, right, she hasn't got a Wally alarm for him, because all she does is diss him all the time. So she hasn't got any words that can calm him down. All she's got words to do, yeah, is to get him really upset. That's the only words that she's got. It's just to get him, you know. So that's the reason. That's another reason why poor Will is in the situation what he's in. Right? And cancer survival rates are now going backwards in the United Kingdom, and this is no surprise with the Johnson government, because since they've taken over, right, the NHS has just been going backwards in free fall. Everything in the NHS is the worst possible it can be. everything, right? Whether it's the waiting list, whether it's the cancer waiting list, and now we're finding that the treatments, right? The survival rates are on the backward move now. So this government are really taking us back, right? Because it's the art of really bad government, right? Having a clown in charge of the country, right? Why is it, that the Ukraine voted for a comedian and got a president who's just outstanding, and we vote for the clown, and what do we get? We get a clown. Just it's unfair. It's not fair. it's I don't know what it is, but it's not fair. Right? Ambulance services are telling people only phone us in emergencies. Okay. Right. So, because it's like, are people phoning up and saying, well, I've stomped my toe, can you send an ambulance? Because you say, well, because they tell you all these stories about what people ask for when they phone up for an ambulance, right? They say to, someone they lost a fingernail, and they decided that they have to phone an ambulance, or they've cut themselves shaving, just a minor cut, right? Shaving, they haven't slashed themselves, they're not using a cutthroat, right? Just cut themselves shaving, and they call it, right? They never actually say, well, we actually dispatched an ambulance. Right, because they'll say, well, they tell you about the story about what people have phoned up for, but they never tell you. Yes, we did dispatch an ambulance. There was a lady that was having a heart attack in her house, but we decided to dispatch an ambulance because someone had banged their elbow on a sideboard. Right, but that's what ambulance service is saying. Right? Only call us in emergencies. I thought that was the whole idea. Priti Patel has said that hundreds of thousands of pounds that she received from oil companies has nothing at all to do with her stance on green energy. Because Priti Patel, she's voting against. I think she's voting against a lot of the green energy stuff, right? And it just turns out that she's had 100 grand from one of the oil companies, and that's obviously had nothing at all to do with her vote. So yes, okay. The level of hypocrisy and corruption in this country is very, very high. Jacob Rees-Mogg yesterday was on LBC, and he was called a patronising posh twat by a woman, actually. But before that, he was speaking to someone from the fishing industry, and Jacob Rees-Mogg was telling this person, right, about fish. It just so happens that this guy had been in the fishing industry for 50 years. So I say, well, I wonder, out of the two of them, or let's say the three of them, out of Jacob Rees-Mogg, Nadine Dorries, I'm just saying her because I was speaking about her earlier, Nadine Dorries, right, and the man from the fishing industry, who do you think knows more about fishing industry? I'll wait. Yes, the man from the fishing industry. That's correct. But Jacob Rees-Mogg was just patronising and just telling him, oh no, what you're saying is not true. None of that's true. Everything that I told you before is true. Right? And Jacob Rees-Mogg, in fact, according to Jacob Rees-Mogg, the cost of food has nothing to do with Brexit. Oh. What's that about? You told us that food was going to be cheaper, along with shoes. Right? You told us it was going to be cheaper when we leave the EU. Those was their words. That's what they said to us. These things are going to be cheaper. I'm not sure whether or not they was lying to us, because all of that, every single part of that was Project Fair, and they told us, oh, all Project Fair, and then we're in Project Now. But I think that what Jacob Rees-Mogg said, he's talking about Project Hindsight. That's Project, one of my contributors sent me that Project Hindsight, right? And I swear to God, I nearly felt if I had a stitch yet, it would have busted, right? When I got Project Hindsight, right? Seriously, right? Because it's just something because obviously Boris Johnson is called Keir Starmer, yeah, behind Captain Hindsight or whatever, and say, well, yes, we're now into Project Hindsight because. And Liz Truss has been warned, right, that the violence is spiraling out of control in Ireland. Something to do with the protocol and all that nonsense, right? And the fact that that lot who support the DUP, right, are a bunch of freaking idiots. That's correct. A bunch of freaking idiots. And I'm not as frightened of them as I would be from the IRA, right? That side is they're just sitting back and they're just why get in the way, right? When these idiots are fucking everything up. That's what Sinn Féin side are saying. They're just laughing their heads off because these people are making an absolute mockery and a fool out of themselves. Absolute stupid. But all of this we did warn about. We warned about all of this nonsense. We said what was going to happen in Ireland. We told them, violence is going to spiral out of control in Ireland. And we was telling them this in 2016. Just before the vote, because just before the vote, everyone started, oh, what about Ireland? And then after the vote, people was like, oh shit, Ireland there's a real problem here with Ireland. And look where we are now. There's a real problem with Ireland. Anyway, guys, look, I've gone how far? 13 or 14 minutes over my time, and I didn't want to do that again today, but I've also done that, so I'm going to bow out of here now. Anyway, guys, look, this is By Any Means Necessary. I'm GMC John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.